couple of questions for you. The Senate is not taking up this bill, as we know. Is that your understanding as well?
I cannot speak for the Senate at all.
Can't speak for him, but okay. So it apparent that it appears that they're not going to. They're going to pass all nine.
But Mr. McLaughlin, what I can say is that these 10 points, again, there have been many versions and policies that we have taken up in this House that has been sent over to the Senate session after session, and they have not acted on them.
But it appears this
time.
I
can say that for past history.
Could you also say that it appears this time from all reports that we've all read or seen, or most of us, that they're going to take up all nine of the 10 points?
I cannot speak.
Okay.
And they have not yet.
They have not yet. Okay. My question would be, this is a vital bill in your opinion, all 10 points, right?
Yes.
If it's so vital, why did it take this governor 2.5 years to come up with it? Did it just simply dawn on him that this is a big problem in New York?
Again, I cannot speak for the governor.
Okay. All right. I may have missed this, and you might not know, and quite frankly, I don't know either, but does federal law require any waiting period on an abortion? And you may not know, and quite frankly, I'm not 100% certain. It might be a state-by-state issue.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And this bill does not require any waiting period before an abortion?
No.
Okay. Anything in this bill relating to inspection of abortion clinics?
No. That's regulated by the Department of Health.
Okay. Do you have any of that data available as to how often they're inspected? Just given what went on in Philadelphia, I would think it'd be a pressing need to inspect our abortion clinics in the state.
No, but I'm sure that information can be provided to you.
Are you aware of a New York Post article on April 27th of this year by Kyle Smith, The Truth About Late-Term Abortions?
No.
Okay. All right, I would refer that to your, just for your edification, because it did definitely delve into what goes on, and this was a New York undercover operation, by the way, in the Bronx, laden with euphemisms. The employee assigned to take note of medical history was asking, the woman that came in and asked about whether the baby survives an abortion, if the child survived the abortion. Can you address in this law what happens if the baby survives?
I'd like to defer that question to Assemblywoman Glick.
Thank you.
But
Thanks, Ms. Glick.
But I think this was already...
Ms. Glick, will you yield?
Absolutely.
Ms. Glick yields.
Thanks, Ms. Glick. I'm just wondering, what is the law now, and does it change at all with this proposed law if a baby survives an abortion? Let's say it's the 7th, 8th, 9th month when the baby is...
If it is alive, if it is at a certain point beyond the second trimester, a live birth must be attempted. In which case, if it is successfully delivered, then the child must be provided with all appropriate medical care. Obviously, if it is premature, it may be required to go into a neonatal ICU, depending on the weight of the baby, etc.
Right.
Now, that's current law. Nothing in this changes that law.
Can I back you up for just a second? At the beginning of your statement, you said that a live birth must be attempted, right?
If it is beyond the second trimester.
But yet this bill expands it to the 3rd trimester.
Mm-hmm. It is only, let me read that section to you, because I'm not sure what you're referring to, but...
well, let me just
point out to you that that notwithstanding any law to the contrary, New York protects a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy within 24 weeks from commencement of that pregnancy, and that's 6 months.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that
Yep.
is strictly related to the health and life of the mother. It is not at will. It is only if there is a physician has determined that there is a reason for the protection of the woman's health or life.
Right, but not the unborn child's health. So my question is, the doctor has determined in the 9th month that the woman's health, and that's an unknown.
Sir, I forgive me for interrupting you, but you asked if you could back me up. I'm asking if I could back you up.
Sure.
I already said that beyond the 2nd trimester, after 6 months, a live birth must be attempted.
So are you
And so if you're going to say the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, then a live birth must be attempted.
So you got to clarify that for me, because if a physician has determined in the 8th month, not beyond, let's say beyond the 24 weeks, beyond the 6-month mark, a physician has determined that the woman's life or health is in danger,
Yes?
then this bill removes the restrictions. There's no restriction on abortion, correct? Am I missing something?
Well, I think you're conflating two things and not recognizing that existing state law is not changed. So if a woman, a doctor may determine that a woman's health is in danger at 6.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
The baby, the fetus may not be ready to be delivered, but a live birth must be attempted. If it is not successful, then it is deemed an abortion, and neither the woman or the physician is criminally liable.
Okay, let me continue. Actually, state law talks about when an abortion is to be performed after the 12th week of pregnancy, it shall be performed only in a hospital and only on an inpatient basis. When an abortion is to be performed after the 20th week of pregnancy, a physician other than the physician performing the abortion shall be in attendance to take control of and to provide immediate medical care for any live birth that is the result of the abortion. Mm-hmm. The Commissioner of Health, okay, gotcha. So it says it has to be attended. So I guess I'm a little confused, because I think this bill states that with the health or life of the mother is at risk, then an abortion can be performed in the 7th, 8th, or 9th month. Am I wrong?
Well, you're yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in that you're wrong in that, as I said, perhaps in an earlier interaction with one of your colleagues, I said that a second physician must be available, and this is confirming that. And I have repeatedly said that a live birth must be attempted. If the live birth is not successful, it is deemed to have been an abortion,
Okay.
but no one is criminally liable, and that there are, in fact, 2 physicians available later in pregnancy, one to be assigned to attempt to assist the fetus, and one for the woman.
Okay. Does Part J of this bill say and establish that New York shall not deny a woman's right to obtain an abortion consistent with U.S. Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade? It says that, I believe, right? And it further establishes that New York State protects a woman's right to an abortion with the first 24 weeks of pregnancy, or when a licensed physician determines that obtaining an abortion is necessary to protect a woman's life or health. Now,
Yeah.
that indicates to me that we're going beyond the 24 weeks and that a live birth would not have to be attempted and that an abortion could be performed.
They're not contradictory. It does not repeal the original public health statute. You know, it's as I said before, you can't take one phrase of a sentence without reading the whole sentence.
Well, I read the whole sentence. I can read the
Yes,
whole
but you're not
the whole
reading the
sec-
whole statute, sir, and
Okay.
that's my point. They are not inconsistent. There is, they're just not inconsistent, and we are not repealing the requirement for there to be two doctors. We're not repealing the requirement for there to be an attempted live birth. We are making no changes about that.
So you have to attempt a live birth in the 8th or 9th month. You
Yes.
have to attempt, which would
Yes.
mean what? Induce
Always
it?
have been.
Always have. You have to, well, you have to induce. I mean, you'd have to try to induce labor, I would think, right? If the woman's not in labor, you'd have to induce.
Again, the physician makes the decision at that time how to proceed.
Okay. Do you have any idea of the number of abortions that take place in New York already?
I'm sure that there are statistics from the health department.
There are, and I have them. Total pregnancies in New York, because you had stated earlier to another colleague that you know, this is a big decision, and I would imagine it is. I mean, it's got to be a life-altering decision. But what struck me in looking at these numbers is there were 362,000 pregnancies in New York in 2011. New York is, as we've all learned or already knew, the abortion capital of the U.S. already. But what really struck me was the number of abortions. 102,678 in 2011 out of 362,000. What struck me a little further, and I don't know if you think that isn't too high of a number, because all we heard for years and years was safe, legal, and rare. It's not very rare. We're making it less safe. All we're doing is making it completely legal in all circumstances.
Would
Does
the
that
gentleman
seem-
yield to a question?
Yes, I was going to say, does that seem like a pretty high number to you? 102,000, close to 40%, 38%?
Well, I would respond by saying that there probably are large numbers of women who either don't have access to the cost of contraception, the contraception that they may be using may fail, they may have tried to avoid pregnancy, they may be victims of rape, they may be victims of incest. I don't know the numbers of those. I do believe that I know one thing for sure, there isn't a single man in this chamber who has ever experienced the sinking feeling of missing a menstrual period. So I would just suggest that women frequently are required to be the only ones concerned about birth control, the only ones who have to try to deal with that, and sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it's not used. They're not totally in control of whether birth control is in fact used. So the number should be lower. We should have more sex education. We should have more access to contraceptives, and that might reduce that number.
Any idea on the number of repeat abortions in New York?
I don't even know what that means, sir.
Well, I mean, in 2011, you know, 2 or more abortions, 14,912, 5 or more, 5,300. There's a lot of abortion in this state, and it's hardly restricted at all as it is. So that would be my point there. Thank you, Ms. Glick. Would Ms. Titus yield again?
Mr. Titus, will you yield? Mr. Titus yields, Mr. McLaughlin.
I may have missed this, and I apologize, but it's been a pretty long debate, and I may have left the chamber for a second. In this bill, I'm specifically talking about Part B on this bill. Anything in this bill that increases the penalties for sexual harassment?
No.
No. So we just brought it down to a level of, I think you said, I'll come back in a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr.
Thanks, Ms.
McLaughlin.
Titus.